So in our last class, we started operators. And I think till null collision operator we discussed. I think for this some example also we discussed. Yes. So any questions on that topic or shall I move to next? Okay. I'm moving to next. So next another operator, another commonly used operator is ternary operator. So again, ternary operator, very commonly this operator is also going to be used. So if I want to use a ternary what is ternary operator? This question mark and colon is called as ternary operator. Question mark and colon is called as ternary operator. These are going to check some condition. If condition is true, then what we have to do? If condition is false, then what we have to do? That can be decided here. So almost for all small conditions and all, we use these ternary operators only. We use these ternary operators only. So here, one example, read a number and check it is even or odd. So what I'm going to check here, console.writeLine, enter any number and int number equal to convert.to int 32 of console.readLine, which is used to read a line of data. Now, if that number %2 is equal to 0, percentage shows the remainder value. So when I'm doing that, if the result, if the remainder value is equivalent to 0, if the remainder value is equivalent to 0, obviously that is an even number, even, else odd number. So this even I want to print, so I have to give it in double quote. I will increase the size. If it is odd, then this. So either even or odd, what I want to do, I want to print console.writeLine. Here the given number is plus, after that I want to print that message. Done. The given number is whatever I'm going to print, that I'm printing here. Okay. So let me run this program. Make this as an entry point. Yes, hello, run. See, enter any number 5. The given number is odd. Enter any number 6. The given number is even. Like that, whatever number you gave, that number is even or odd, it's going to do that work in one line. So don't think that this ternary operator is going to do or going to work for simple conditions. No. Suppose if I am asking the question, read 5 numbers and print biggest. I want to read 5 numbers and print the biggest number. So here enter 5 numbers and B, C, D, E, 5 numbers. Now I want to find the biggest number. So many logics are there. Any logic you can use. First logic I'm checking if A is greater than B and also A should be greater than C and also A should be greater than D, and also A should be greater than E. That means A should be greater than B, C, D, E. If all conditions are matching, question mark, A is the biggest number. But actually here how many conditions you are checking? 1, 2, 3, 4. If all are true, then only A is the biggest number. So all conditions between, I'm giving AND operator. Last class we discussed logical operators, right? So that you have to decide. If A is greater than B, C, D, E, all, that A is the biggest number. Then you might ask a question, ma'am, instead of writing like this, A is greater than B, comma, C, comma, D, comma, E. You can't write like that. Okay, you can't put all these things in one place. So if A is greater than B, C, D, E, A is biggest. Else, if A is not a biggest number, if A is not a biggest number, then obviously what will be the next one? B. B is greater than C and B is greater than D, B is greater than E. If this condition is true, question mark, B is the biggest number. Else, I'm going to check another. Then question mark, C is the biggest number. If not, D is greater than E. Question mark, D is the biggest number. Else, E is the biggest number. Almost all scenarios I tried. Now, all these things, what I want to do, the whole thing I want to print. Console.writeLine, the whole thing I want to print. Okay, so console.writeLine inside the biggest number equal to plus whatever value it's going to return, that value I'm going to print here. Whatever value it's going to return, that I'm going to print it here. That's it. All are done. Now let's run the program again. Enter any number. Whatever number you are giving, the given number is even or odd, it is showing. Now enter 5 numbers. See, the biggest number is 3434. Right? It is showing properly. So any questions on this? See here, if you take this condition is very lengthy. The same thing if I want to write using if statement and all, I have to write 8 to 9 lines of code. But the same thing in one line I finished.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
Like you wrote 2 print statements here. The first one is the given number is number divisible by 2. Is that also called ternary operator? Because there is difference in the way you wrote for both of them. Yeah.
This one and this one, right?
Yes.
Here only single condition. Suppose see, if the given number is even or odd, it's a straightforward condition. But here, in these numbers, biggest number, I want to find it out. This is not a straightforward point. I have to check multiple conditions. So for that, I used a question mark and both are ternary operators only. This is very simple one. This is little complex one.
Oh, so is it like for the first statement, the first one, if the statement is true, it should go to the first one. If it is false, then it will go to the next one.
Yes, correct. Colon after it will goes.
Oh, but in the second statement, it's taking like else, right? Okay, got it, ma'am.
Else another condition. True something, else another condition, like that.
Okay, I understood.
I'm moving to next. So then you might get one doubt, ma'am, if ternary operators is doing all this work, then what is the use of if statement? Obviously, Because if you observe ternary operators, it's doing all the work. Even complex conditions also it's doing. But why if statement and all? Because in these ternary operators, leave this, I will explain here. You can't give multiple conditions. Here open bracket and close bracket, and in between this, I want to print even, I want to print int a equal to 100. Like all these things you can't do. Means in this only you can give a single, either a variable or a something. You can give only single. This question mark and colon, either you can print a message or you can print a variable. That's it. You can't write multiple statements in that. Because of that, if statement is also available. So I want to check some condition. If the condition is true, I want to do some work only. In that case, I have to use this ternary operator. If more conditions, then using ternary operators, I can't do. Okay. Next. Assignment operator I discussed, and increment or decrement operator. Increment or decrement operator. So add one more program, right click, add one more class, increment demo. No. What will be the I value it will print? Anyone? What is the I value it's going to print?
101.
Yeah, not one. Yes, correct. 101 it's going to print. That means it's going to increment one value, and that one value it's going to print. So the same thing, whatever you had written, the same thing you can write like this. I plus plus. That means it's going to print 102 and plus plus I. It's going to print 103. So what is I equal to I plus 1 doing? The same thing, you can write it as I plus plus or plus plus I. Both are valid things. Both are valid things. So if I run this 101, 102 and 103. Okay. Make this as an entry point. Console demos. Increment demo. Now run. See 101, 102, 103. Whatever output it is showing, that is correct. Now, my question is, what is the difference between these two? Suppose if you observe either I plus plus if you gave, plus plus I if you gave, all are doing the same work. Then what is the difference between these two? That two expressions different, you can identify if you gave these things in console.writeLine inside. Console.writeLine inside if you give, then you get the difference between these two. Then here I'm giving I plus plus, and here I'm giving console.writeLine plus plus I. So this is called as, first one is called as post increment. This one is called as pre-increment. The first one is called as post increment and pre-increment. What is post increment? That's it. First one, first it will print the variable value and do increment. Second one, first it will increment the value and print. First it will increment the value and print. So both are two different things. Both are two different things. So here, what is the I value? I value here is 103. So it will print 103. After printing that 103, then it will increments the value as 104. Whereas here, before coming to this line, what value is I value 104. So 104 plus 105 it will print. That means it's only small difference. So when you are giving this, whatever I value in previous line, whatever I value it is, that I value as it is, it will print. After printing that, it will increment the I value. Means before leaving that line, it will increment. But before increment that, it will print. Whereas here, it's not like that. First, it will increment. Before coming to this line, what is the I value? 104. Right? 104 plus 105. It will print. So in output, some variation is there. 103, 105. So you got to know the difference between these two if you gave inside this console.write. Normally, if you give, both are same. Is this clear or any questions? Okay, then next one. Let me int j equal to 200. If everyone is clear, write line j plus plus. Anyone, the complete output, please tell. What will be the output of the complete one? What will be the output of the complete thing? Think j value is 200. I don't want single, I want all. No, I don't want single, I want all. Because console.writeLine you are giving means for every line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 outputs I will get. What are the 5? Maybe the last one 204, I don't know. I'm asking the previous things also. Why all are silent? Okay, first here. So what is the j value? 200. So j plus plus means first 200 as it is, it will print. And in the memory, the value will be 201. Right? Next, when it is coming to this, again j plus plus. So before coming to this line, what is the j value? 201. So again 201 as it is, it will print. then it will change the value as 202. And here the value will be plus plus j. That means already the value will be 202. 202 plus plus 203. So 203 it will print. Okay. Again here j plus plus. So as it is the value 203 it will print, and in the memory the value will be 204. Finally j means obviously the value will be 204. So whatever Pratibhan is saying, that is correct. But before this, what will be the values? That is also very, very important. You got to know the difference between these two things if you gave that inside console.writeline. Normally, if you gave, you can't find it out, the changes. Okay, clear? Or anyone wants to, anyone is having any question, please ask. K minus minus and console.writeline minus minus k. K minus minus means obviously 100 it will print, and in the next line, after that it will become as 99. Minus minus k, 99 minus minus 98. It is going to print 98. So again read this carefully. First it will print the value, then it will do increment. First it will increment, then it will do print. That's it. If you understand these two lines, then it's very easy to understand this concept also. Okay. Then increment, decrement operators also we discussed, and some more. When I'm explaining the topic, I will explain the other operators. The main operators I explained. Almost all main operators I explained, but some other operators are there. I will explain those operators when I start that topic. When I start the topic, I will explain. Okay. Then I'm moving to next concept. Then right click, add one more class. Next, whatever I'm saying here, these are interview questions only. Static void main. The questions they will ask, like difference between string and StringBuilder, or in C#, strings are immutable. Can you define? Strings are immutable. Can you define what is this? The question they may ask in two different ways, but this is very, very common interview question. So what is this? Suppose what is the difference between string and StringBuilder? For example, I'm declaring a variable string name is equal to Ram, or okay, string data, and otherwise I will take, because we don't cover loops and all, name equal to Sai. I stored some data. Observe carefully. And name equal to name plus Surya. And name is equal to name plus Vamsi. And name equal to name plus V. I'm giving something like this. Means slowly I'm adding some data into this. Now I will take one variable int a equal to 10 and a equal to a plus 10, a equal to a plus 10. I'm giving. So console.writeLine, what will be the A value? Anyone? What will be the A value?
30.
30. And here console.writeLine, name also I'm going to print. It will print Sai Surya Vamsi dot v. It will print obviously because all names we are adding. Same thing, string builder SB equal to new string builder of Sai SB dot append of Surya SB dot append of Surya Vamsi and SP dot append of V. Something I gave. Now console.writeLine of SP. I'm giving all this information. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now let me run this program. String builder demo. Run. See, first one 30, second one whatever I expected, it's coming. But memory wise, lot of variation is there. Let's see what is that. Stack and heap memory. All these things, and I'm going to give little lengthy, and I'm going to give this 1, 2, 3, and here what is the other variable I had given? A. This is name. SP and okay. So let's see first one by one. So first what you gave, A equal to 10. Then it will create on memory location, it will stores 10. And here you gave A equal to A plus 10. So to this existing A value, one more 10 it will add and it will remove that value and it will overlaps that 20. Whereas A equal to A plus 10. In this A already 20 is there, 20 plus 1, 30. It will replace that value with 30. Done. Whereas second one, names. So you gave name equal to Sai. In heap memory, it will create one memory location, and in that memory location, it will store Sai, and it will points, the cursor will points to this. But when you gave name equal to name plus Surya, what string will do means it won't modify that existing memory location, because in C#, strings are immutable. Immutable means non-modifiable. You can't modify that location value. You can't modify that location value. Okay, again, it's going to create a new memory location. In that, Sai plus Surya, both values will be saved. And again, in the third line, name equal to name plus Vamsi. In that name, already Sai Surya is there. And you are adding one more to that existing string. Again, it won't modify that. It will create a separate memory location. In that memory location, it will store Sai Surya Vamsi. And again, you are adding initial value. So to, again, it will create a new memory location and it will store that value. Now, when you are trying to print console.writeLine name, this name variable is pointing to which address, that address related value it's going to print. That address related value it's going to print. Okay, next. Another one, string builder SB, it will point to this location only. It will point to this location only. So when I am coming to this, it will, where is this? It will first print, same like integer variable. First it will create a memory location, Sai will store. And when you are adding one more to this location only, it will remove the data and Sai Surya will store. Again, when you are adding one more, appending one more, then it will remove that and it will going to add Vamsi. And after that dot v, everything is going to add in that. That means like integers, how it is going to modify, but strings it's not going to modify. Then you might ask a question, ma'am, then in that case you shouldn't use strings. Means no, if you are just storing some variable in that string, then you can. But if that's in that string variable, if you are doing continuous changes, then it's not recommended to use string. Instead of string, you have to use string builder. So just if you are storing some value, some string type of value, one or two modifications, then okay, strings. But the frequent changes you are doing on this variable, or frequent appending, frequent changes you are doing this data, then you shouldn't use that as a string. In that place, you have to use string builder. In that scenario, if you use string, your application performance will be decreased. So this is very, very important. Any questions or is it clear? Okay. One more important interview question. This is also. Where dynamic demo. So if you declare a variable as an integer, int a, then you are storing an integer type of data. If you declare a variable as a string, you can store any data which is with double quotes data, in which is in double quotes. Like that, we are having so many data types. Each one is going to store different type of data. Now, sometimes I am declaring one variable. Sometimes I'm declaring one variable, and in this variable, exactly what type of data is coming, I don't know. I may get a decimal value, I may get an integer value, I may get a long value. I don't know. I'm writing some formula. That formula result, what I'm getting, I don't know. So how can I declare this variable? Right? Some scenarios going forward, many situations will come like this. But going forward, some areas you don't know exactly what you have to declare, because whatever lengthy formulas you are writing, that result what you may get, you don't know exactly. In that case, how you people can declare your variables, you don't know. In that case, you can define your variable as var. If you declare your variable as var type, then what result you are getting based on that, the variable is going to define. Here, if you declare a variable as an integer, then in that variable you can store an integer value. And in that variable, if I'm trying to store any decimal value, it will throw error because that is an integer. In the same way, var also will work. Suppose in this var, if I'm storing some number, now what is this result type? It is an integer. Suppose if I'm storing 5.4f, now what is this variable type? Float type. That means what value you are storing in that variable, based on that the variable is going to behave like that from next line. And if you declare a variable var, then immediately you have to assign the value. Ma'am, I will give in next line means it won't allows you to give it in next line. Even immediate next line also it won't give. So if you declare a variable as a var type, must initialized, either formula or something you have to give immediately, equal to something you have to give immediately. Otherwise it will throw error. So whatever value you are giving, now I am giving 5. So what is my RES type? RES type is an integer. Now in this RES, if I am trying to store any float value, it will throw error like how it throws here. Only one variation. Here directly you are saying the type, so that any other type if you are trying to store, it will throw error. But here I don't know what that result will get. In that case, I'm going to define the var variable type as var. Immediately you have to give some formula or something. So based on that formula calculation, what result you are getting? You may get a long value, or you may get a short value, you may get an integer value, you may get a decimal value, you may get a string. Like that, what value you are going to return, based on that the variable type is going to define. So var is going to define its type at compile time, and once it defines its type, another type of data we can't save, we can't store, or we can't assign. Var is going to defines its type at compile time. Okay, so if you are if we are declaring a variable as var, then immediately we have to initialize the value something equal to something you have to give, otherwise it will throw error. So in the same way, we are having one more, dynamic. What is dynamic is going to do? Dynamic is going to define its type at runtime. Result. So dynamic is going to define its type at runtime. Here console.writeLine res.getType. It is going to return your type. So obviously you are storing 5 means it's going to return as int32. Same thing, dynamic result I gave, but I'm not assigning any value. It's not showing any error. In the next line also you can give result equal to 10. Now its type is an integer, but result equal to 67.88f. Now the result type is float. Then how it is going to define for dynamic variables? It's going to define its type based on the last value what we are assigning to that variable, based on the last value what you are assigning to that variable. That means at last, if I ask here, it will show int 32. And the same thing, if I ask here, console.writeLine, result.get type, result result.get type. Now let's run the program. Where dynamic. So make this as an entry point. See, first one is system.int32. Second one is system.single. But actually, if you observe here, I stored integer value also, but it's not taking that integer. It's not taking that integer. What is the last value you assigned? Based on that, it will define its type. And here, again, I'm storing in this result, again, I'm storing 67 or 67. Now we don't throw any error. Based on the last value what you are assigning, based on that it will returns. Now if I run, both are integers, it will return. Right? Now both are integers. Now here in this res, observe carefully. In this res, if I'm trying to store RAM, it is throwing error. Otherwise, I'm declaring one string type of variable. Res plus RAM. It is throwing error. Obviously, because one integer plus string combination, it's not there. But here, result equal to result plus RAM. Is it throwing any error? No. When I run this, what we have to do is not like this. I will declare string name equal to RAM and result equal to name, and here also result equal to name, and here console.writeLine res, it is going to return the result, and here also console.writeLine result RAM. Yes, everything is showing properly. Exactly how come you are going to do means, okay, I will do one thing. I will write some formula, then it will throw error. Result equal to name. Here string type it is going to return. And here also int, where, leave this. Return, it will return 5. So where result 1 is equal to RAM. I stored RAM, or result 1 is equal to RAM. Now my result 1 variable is string type of data. Now result1 is equal to result1 into 10. I am giving some formula. Same thing here also, result equal to result into 10. I am giving some formula here. Now, here at compile time, it is throwing error, right? You can't do that. But here, when I'm executing this program, see, at runtime, it is throwing error. Star cannot be used in string and integer combination. But here, the same error, it is throwing at compile time. But dynamic, it won't throw any error at compile time. That's why when you are using dynamic, you should take care about all areas where you are handling, because at compile time, it won't throw any error. At runtime only, it will throw these errors. But here, where it's not like that. If you are doing something wrong, at compile time only, it will throw error. So dynamic is also good, where is also good. Dynamic is going to define its type at runtime, where is going to define its type at compile time. So variable, immediately you have to assign the value. So based on what value immediately you are assigning, based on that, this RES type is going to decide. But dynamic, what is the last value you are assigning, based on that, its type is going to decide. But in dynamic, one small problem is there. If you are defining the value wrongly, or if you are using that in any formulas and all, at runtime it will throw error. That is one drawback. Okay, so see, whatever points I'm saying here, maybe immediately you won't use all these things, but these are the concepts. Even if you are going to learn machine learning or artificial intelligence using this C# and all, these syntaxes only will be useful. So these are very, very important. Not leave about machine learning and all. ASP.NET Core or MVC or anything you are learning, web APIs, anything you are learning, whatever you are learning today, these are the basic concepts. Many people, when they are learning C#, they won't remember all these things. But if you remember all these things properly, then in ASP.NET Core or machine learning or games or any other area, you can implement a perfect application. So at least when you are learning new concepts, please keep recollect all these concepts every day, so that you can keep remember. In interviews also, all these small topics they will ask. Even if you are going for ASP.NET MVC or ASP.NET Core or web API developer, any advanced courses also, first they will ask you in C# questions. If you qualified in C#, then only they will move to ASP.NET and all. Okay, so please go through with all these things. We will discuss remaining on tomorrow's class. Okay, any other questions? Okay then, bye all of you. Thank you.